Hello, this is episode 4. We are so amazingly psyched to finally give you the action plan for managing the stress-weight connection. I'm Cheryl Gordon. I help educate midlife women about sleeping better, feeling stronger, and losing weight using the tools of yoga and mindfulness.
And I'm Charlene Stiles, a holistic nutritionist, a life coach, and a metabolism mechanic. So, you want to lose that menopause middle or that menopause belly, that stuff that just appears out of nowhere as it seems?
I know, and I was still exercising and eating healthy, doing all the things. Where did all the flesh come from?
Today, we're going to look exactly at that, where the cortisol belly comes from and how it can cause weight gain, and why so many of us are busy as women and accomplished who have juggled stressful schedules for our lives for perhaps even decades. And then why do we suddenly gain weight from stress? It's like nothing is new after all.
I know. I am going to do my best to share my screen here. And when we're at home base, which is the green part right in the center, we are feeling safe and calm and we're centered. It's a really desirable place to be. It's when we're at our best, really. If we're below home base, and that's in the gray zone, we're feeling a lack of energy. Above home base, and that's the orange zone, we're feeling jazzed, maybe a bit scattered or even overwhelmed. We're at our best when we're at home base in the green zone. Our brain there is firing on all cylinders, but we are also maximizing efficiency in our systems. Pushing our systems to the orange zone is inefficient and exhausting, and it's depleting our bodies of essential infrastructure repair. Think digestion, cell repair. One way what a teacher explained it to me is picture a war zone. Heaven forbid we're in a war zone, but that's a place that's been in crisis mode and it's a blown up wreck of rubble. After decades of running crazy, never resting enough, pushing ourselves to the limit, our systems are a blown up wreck of in a lot of ways. Not enough energy to digest well or to do that cellular repair. In our 30s, we could get away with it, but the consistent deficit of restoring the system adds up.
Yeah, and the hormone that circulates during these prolonged periods in that orange zone, as you may know, is cortisol, and which is our stress hormone. So when cortisol stays too high for too long, whether that's from stress or over exercising or merely a lack of sleep, it signals the body to store fat, to hang on to it, and particularly around the belly. And that's because your body thinks that it needs to conserve energy to get through this crisis. And even if the crisis is just a mere daily and regular type of stress. Plus, cortisol triggers the breakdown of glycogen, that's our stored glucose, and that allows the glucose then to flood the system with extra fuel, extra sugar, extra glucose to escape that perceived threat. So the problem is that there's really nothing to run from here, though. So, and as we covered in the hormone episode, that spike in glucose triggers an insulin response, and insulin's job is to store that glucose as fat, particularly in the belly.
And Charlene, we've all read about this in all the magazine articles and everything, but when are we actually going to take stress seriously and address these deficits? So in last session, I mentioned yoga and mindfulness snacks.
Yeah, and I love that term. So rather than just using food as snacks, we nurse our nervous system instead. I love this.
Bingo. So it's not that easy for the average busy woman to take like a whole hour for a yoga practice and then meditate twice a day and then glide around chanting peace, love, and joy. I mean, it's a great way to live for sure, but it's not practical for me. So yoga and mindfulness snacks are mini retreats that you can weave into your day.
Yeah, like that 3-minute breathing space.
Yes, and we'll include that link to the how-to in the show notes. You can also do just a quick series of stretches. It's amazing how just a few stretches, even at your desk, can make a big difference. And I'm a big one for loving kindness meditation, or sometimes known as metta. Again, we'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Love it. And how often are you recommending, Cheryl, that people snack on yoga or mindfulness each day?
Well, I think it's realistic to build in 3 snacks a day. Overall, this would be a 15-minute commitment. You could squeeze that out, Charlene, even as busy as you are.
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I think it would just be a matter of understanding the benefit and then, of course, making that commitment to myself. And I think, obviously making it a daily habit. So I may even venture to say, so I feel its benefits. That might be the hook.
Yeah. So you've got to do it to get used to it, to feel it in your body. And then that's where the momentum comes from. That's where the motivation comes from. So you might wonder, like, how could 3 to 5 minutes on a reset make any real impact? Well, it's got to do with resilience. I know how it feels to get stuck in that orange zone of stress. So let's just call back up the graphic, even though it was kind of funny the way it was. There
No,
we go.
it was great.
Yeah, so here we are. And you can see if you're in that orange zone of stress,
Cheryl, I'll
you're
just, sorry, interrupt you.
oh,
We can't see it on the screen if you were trying to share it again.
ah,
Yeah.
let me try sharing. Let me
Okay.
try sharing. There we go. Girls gone wild. There we go.
There we go.
So when you're in this orange zone up here, agitated, difficulty sleeping, irritable, racing thoughts, all of these things um, add up to like a rush of adrenaline. That stress response starts with a rush of adrenaline. We can get quite addicted to that. It can be quite normal for us. And coming down out of the orange zone to the gray zone, which is often the compensation our body makes, our body has to go further and then find the balance later. So often we go from the orange down to the gray, and that feels really dull and depressing. God forbid I feel anything unpleasant, like dull or depressed. So I do something that pushes me back up to jazzy. I do something that makes me feel like I'm not dull and depressed, but I go too far because that's my habit. I'm addicted to that adrenaline rush. And there's no real chance to get familiar with the green zone. So the little snacks re-educate the nervous system to find that green zone. We can set ourselves to that automatically on purpose. We can do it. So if we familiarize ourselves with what it feels like to be in the green zone, where we're not dull and depressed, we're not super jazzed, but we're firing on all cylinders. Even if outside circumstances are really crazy, we can still do that.
Yeah, geez, I love that. And just today, myself personally, I was noticing the extreme pendulum swing from being flatlined of like overtaxed, overworked, whatever, overwhelmed over everything, to this complete like adrenaline rush. I'm late, I gotta go, and that makes me feel alive. It's so interesting how that works. I do find though, I personally always feel way more grounded and relaxed after yoga.
Yeah. And the reason mindful movement is so powerful has to do with how the stress is actually held in your tissues. Let me see if I can try to figure this out. Every event that has ever happened to you, someone smiled at you yesterday, or conversely, you almost got hit in traffic. This creates a neurochemical reaction in your body. And the brain almost instantaneously evaluates this circumstance and searches through its lifelong database of possible meanings and then issues commands for a hormonal cascade that historically has helped you manage in similar circumstances. To facilitate the effectiveness of this mechanism, this response, the tissues in the body also store records of those neurochemical signatures. And they stand super ready to send signals up to the brain as to how to react. So it's a bi-directional information flowing constantly in your nervous system. And recent research in the last decade or two suggests your connective tissue is a parallel nervous system that's also feeding information up to the brain about what's going on in your environment and how you should react to it. That's why some of my teachers say the issues are in the tissues. And this is why the slow rhythmic movement of yoga or somatics, timed with a deep nostril-based breath, literally cleanses those neurochemical habits. Yoga really is unique in that it combines movement with no competitive aspect to fire up the nervous system. And I should say yoga practiced in a somatic kind of gentle way. I'm sure there's lots of versions of yoga nowadays that do fire up our nervous systems, but we're looking to bring us into the green zone. So you get the physical benefits of exercise in a classical or gentle yoga class, but you also get that support and guidance to come back to the green zone. And of course, you can see I'm pretty excited about this. We need to do a deeper dive, Charlene, on somatics and releasing stress in a 4-part course.
Absolutely. And I'm super excited to dive into that and share it. So we're going to be releasing several deeper diver courses just like this over the next few months. So please be sure to sign up for our newsletters, stay connected with us, and you'll get priority access. You can find a sign up form somewhere. We'll link them around here and more resources at either one of our websites, which is purenaturalhealth.ca or CherylGordonYT.com. And of course, please subscribe to this channel or comment below. It really helps us share this information and let us know how your Empress journey is really unfolding and whether these topics affect you too. Okay, that's it for
Thanks.
today.
Bye.
Bye for now.